Hello, everyone. I have a speech here. It's long, but I don't want anybody to miss out on nothing because I took a lot of time to write it. So I'm going to read it. I always speak a lot in here, so people hear me talk a lot. But first, I want to say that I would say that the community and people in general is your responsibility to help raise our kids, because we can't really raise our kids properly from prison without help. So we're here today asking for help. Don't misinterpret that when you came up here. We want your help, but we also want you guys to let us help you, because we can help you educate the children out there. Parents aren't able to identify their kids as gang members when they're 9 and 10. We can. Parents aren't able to recognize their kids doing drugs. We can. It's just certain things that you just don't see, that you just can't imagine your kid doing those things, but we were those kids at one time, so we could recognize those things. So there's power in education, not just by a textbook, sometimes by life experiences. My name is Daryl Massey. I'm father of Renika and Daryl Massey Jr. I am speaking on behalf of every male prisoner in the United States of America through the vehicle of the BPC Social Committee. We have committees within our BPC, our Black Prisoners Caucus, which also stands for Building Positive Communities. That's what we are about. Not just your community, but our community in here too, because one day we're going home. So our community has to be right in here. We have to have a blueprint in prison to go home, or we're going to come back to prison. And whether people believe it or not, we are our brother's keepers. We hold each other accountable. Just like we hold you guys from the community accountable. We do. We haven't, but we are now. We need your help. We need you. I would not claim to be an expert in any field, but my heart is in the right place, as this is God's will, as we are in God's house. I'm not much on statistics, but I am a realist. In our reality, yours and mine, is that our kids are more likely to become patients of a doctor rather than a doctor for the patients. More likely to have a DOC number before they can memorize a Social Security number, as was the case for me. My data is reliable because it's my life. I lived it, and my sincerity is my credentials. I didn't have a lot of time to experience that much in the free world, for I've been incarcerated since my teenage years. I'm 37 years old now. Yet my father instilled good values in me, which enabled me to build character within myself as I matured into manhood from my adolescent years, hence making me the man I have become today. I was not always this mature as an adult, but the only excuse I have is ignorance. The adults I chose as role models didn't conduct themselves in their proper manner, so in turn, neither did I. But as I was about 6 years into my sentence, I became a father for the first time. And I knew she was the angel that saved my life. I always heard people talk about crossroads, and upon reflection, I now know these transitions to be true, a life-changing experience. This is my daughter, in the blue up there. My daughter. My princess, who I've always treated. Who I've always treated like a delicate flower because I want her to blossom into a wonderful woman. My son, which is over here in the blue. My special blessing from God, who arrived to this world while my father was departing it. Has the same personality of his grandfather. But has his mother's physical appearance as well as her inquisitive nature. Their mom, my wife of 16 years, until her untimely death 1 year ago, at the age of 33, gave me the opportunity to have a life where such things just don't exist in an unnatural environment such as prison. My wife and I had a committed relationship for our whole incarceration. And I say whole because she did the whole time with me while she was living. She was 16 years old when we was together, and she did the time with me, with the occasional spats that all couples go through. And I loved her more than anything in this world. Until the birth of my children, I didn't think I could care for another person as I did for my wife, but how I was mistaken. There's no feeling that compares to the genuine love that I have for my children. And I've never been more proud of anything in my life than being a father. Not a daddy, but a father. A daddy plants the seed, but a father furthers its growth. Though it took serious sacrifices from my wife and family, I had the opportunity to spend valuable time with my children at a very young age. And I think it shows significant results. I had time to nurture them. From the time I held them initially, I was privileged enough to spend more time with my children than most parents do in the free world today. From about 3 months old until she started kindergarten, I spent an average of 40 hours a week with Renika, from 10 a.m. in the morning, from 7:45 p.m. at night at the institution I was at. The visiting hours was just that long. The time has decreased since she started school, just as most families do everywhere. With Daryl Jr., things were a lot different in the fact that we had a lot more available to us as parents, as a couple, as in the sense of finances, and more important than anything is the opportunity to have extended family trailer visits with my family. We were allowed to have more of a family structure, so my role as a father and partner has stability and credibility, because I was able to be there for my kids. I was able to hold my kids. I was able to put them to sleep, sing to them, just things that seem small to people on the streets, but it was important to potty train my son. You know what I'm saying? That was important to me, to help him tie his shoes. And that's things I would have missed if I'd never had trailer visits. And that's things that kids miss coming to prison now. And I just come from a different time of coming in prison. I came in the 80s and we were allotted these things, and now they no longer exist. By the time our son was born, we both had steady employment, and that was actually the determining factor why we felt we could have another child. If I didn't have the opportunity to transfer to an institution and obtain employment as a Class 1 industry job, then we would not have planned on adding another child to our family. A Class 1 job is where you made minimum wage funds and you was able to take care of your kids. And I always sent all my money home. I lived off $25 a month because my kids was the most important thing to me and still is. Though I worked 40 hours a week and did a lot of overtime, nothing came before my visits. My work schedule was set up around my visits with my family because nothing is more important than your family, a value I teach my children in everyday conversation to this day. I pride myself on being a responsible parent and feel that fatherhood is my greatest accomplishment to this date. I wouldn't trade it for anything, not even for my freedom. It may seem insignificant to others, but the things I've been able to accomplish make me relevant to my children. My daughter's first words was "Dada." What's said to me, recognizing me. Her first step was with me, thus allowing me to be the first to establish a comfort of trust with her. If you fall, Daddy will always be there to pick you up. That's right. I changed the diapers of both my kids and went through the discomfort of teething with them. I potty trained my daughter. I played tooth fairy with my son. It's a hard job raising kids alone, so the aid I gave my wife was much needed. She would always say my time with the kids was far more valuable than the $900 I sent home monthly. When she came to visit, it was my time to teach the kids and instill my values into them and have them see my traits and belief system. With the opportunity to have extended family visits, I'm able to be the disciplinarian as well as the comforter. I didn't just want to be the enforcer, as the mean dad or I'm going to tell you daddy. We always had breakfast and dinner at the table. We always did schoolwork, even before they started school. If it wasn't for the trailer program, I wouldn't know how to deal with my emotions. I wouldn't know how to express myself and communicate. And communication is the key to my success. I couldn't have taught Daryl to tie his shoes or throw a football. I would not have had the chance to spend every Christmas, every Halloween, every Thanksgiving, every birthday with them in a trailer. I wouldn't be able to teach them about Juneteenth and how significant Kwanzaa is to a black household. I would not be able to spend quality time with my children doing arts and crafts, playing baseball, or just drawing pictures of our family without the family-friendly events. Yet we need more. The family-friendly needs to be expanded because it's so limited to time and space, so we really can't do nothing. I'm able to do these things, I go to trailers, but guys that don't have trailers, it's like you show the kids the toys, the prizes, they play, 2 hours, it's time to go home. So it's like you get more from going to a regular visit than you do family-friendly if you don't go to trailers. If it wasn't for the availability of these aforementioned programs, I would not be rehabilitating myself and becoming such a proud father. The world doesn't need another misguided, ignorant kid getting into a car to put another kid at risk by getting involved with a street gang. I, too, am a former gang member in prison for 41 years. I've been locked up 18, so I get a third off my sentence. I go home in like 9 years. But we need more. I come from a good family background. I'm not from the projects, raised by both parents. I just made poor choices. Peer pressure is strong for kids, very strong. So I'm no different than Lataxion. I'm no different than Kamanti. But I have a different sentence, so I go home. I have to leave Kamanti here, my friend. What the world needs is the structure of the family to return, for our neighborhoods to become communities, not hoods. For men to be fathers to their kids, for women to be mothers to their kids, and for the world to help teach us how to be good parents. I'm learning on the fly. I learned what I take from my parents, what I felt was wrong. I learned from sponsors. I learned from officers in here. I talked to them about raising kids because I love my children. I love all these children. And we have to view our society like that, that these are all my kids. I'm just responsible for Malik's kids. I am for Daryl and Nika. Every child needs Nia, a Swahili word meaning purpose. It took me a 40-year sentence to realize my purpose, but only because I have the Black Prisoners Caucus leadership and guidance from our mentors and sponsors. They're not just sponsors, they're mentors, to lead me in the right direction. I'm now able to lead and teach my children about the knowledge I have obtained. Mr. Willie Williams, from you I've learned to be patient and positive. Debbie Lee, I've learned the power of prayer from you. Mary Flowers, you have helped me to learn to respect everyone's opinion and to love myself no matter what. And Professor Marcia Arunga, you are the blueprint in which I shall try to shape my daughter. You are a beautiful woman. We need more role models in our communities like yourself. You are our Maya Angelou. I thank you first for teaching us the fundamentals and principles of Kwanzaa, because I think it's essential to the Black household, for the purpose of unification, if nothing else. Families no longer even have cookouts together, and that's very strong in the Black household where we had unity, and we have no unity. My sisters don't talk to my other sisters, my cousins don't talk to my mother, and we just have no unification. I think that's where it starts, is in the home. We can't help, I can't be a father to all the kids here without the help of the support from people from the streets. It has to start in the home. It has to. I also thank you for opening my mind to view the world in a proper way. Sociology has taught me so much about understanding the behavior of people in our society, as well as this subculture I reside in. With the help of the programs I've taken and the knowledge I've acquired, I'm now better equipped to nurture my children and teach the kids that I mentor effectively. I also talk to kids in the youth program every Tuesday and Wednesday of the week. I beg the parents, I beg the teachers, I beg the legislators, bring your kids to Monroe. Let us help your kids. You wouldn't believe how they open up to us, things they would never tell their mothers, their fathers. Sometimes a kid just needs to be listened to. And I've learned that at becoming a parent. I'm still not always a good father to some of the guys in prison because I deal with them in tough love, because I'm ashamed of what I did. I was also involved in a drive-by shooting where an innocent victim was killed. So when I see guys hanging out and just selling for less when they have so much more potential to be so much more, I'm ashamed to see guys walking in the same shoes I walked in. And I was just like those kids. I was up here at 19, but I thought my life was over when I came to prison. So I continued to be a notorious gang member while I was in prison. I know some people may ask why we prisoners are allowed privileges such as trailer visits, family visits, family events, cultural rights, private industry employment, education, parent-teacher conferences, and other liberties. I respond with my reality and the products of my reality. Renika Massey and Daryl Massey Jr., both students of the month twice last year at their respective schools. Yet they're 7 times more likely to come to prison because of me being in prison. My children need all the help they can get. Who better to give it than their father? So why not help me help them? I'm living proof that if given the resources and the opportunity that we can rehabilitate ourselves while keeping a sense of normalcy within my life, because one day I'm going to return to that society out there, as most of us will. So it's beneficial to us that we all be prepared for this culture out there by training ourselves within this subculture we call the reformatory. If we continue not to be refined or retooled while we're in prison, we're going to continue to return to prison because we're institutionalized, conditioned to failure. And eventually our children, yours and mine, will soon follow. That's my biggest fear in prison. Not cancer, not death, not losing my children, but becoming institutionalized. I do something different every day so I don't be doing the norm and get caught up within the things in prison and become institutionalized. I've used every program to help me prepare for this culture on the outside, but more importantly, to be a far better man than I was a kid. I'm now a responsible man and a wonderful father, because whether I'm here forever or home tomorrow, I'll always be Daryl and Renika's father. Fathers in here should be given the chance to nurture those seeds they left behind, and maybe even restore some of those damaged flowers that have yet to bloom. With the help of the Village of Hope, we want to prevent a child's purpose from being decided by poor choices followed by a mandatory sentence. So please help us in our efforts to nurture our relationships with our children. We want to never see another Daryl Massey at 18 years old or another Brenda Harris, life taken at 17 years old. May God bless us all, because we surely need it. Ashe.